All right. Well, this is the update some of you are not going to be happy about. I am at the point now in my carnivore journey where I have realized that it's probably not going to work for me. When I say that, I don't mean that there are not benefits. In fact, it has been a godsend to me. The way I felt in week 3 going into week 4 was remarkable. Then I had this little incident with the hospital where my electrolytes got low. I was probably somewhat dehydrated, and I thought, well, and they gave me their terrible food, and I thought, okay, I don't have a stroke or brain tumors. I'm golden. All I've got to do is just stay on top of the electrolytes. And I came out very motivated to stay on top of those electrolytes to make sure I was hydrated, which takes some effort, by the way. You can almost force yourself to drink and salt water and this and that. And I felt really good those 2 days. But one of the problems was the hospital, they put me immediately on the low fat, high sugar diet. And I was starving because I had breakfast that morning and I went through all that late that afternoon, evening into the late night. They wouldn't let me eat anything, and finally they bring me some food, which was like poultry soup, some kind of broth, and some mashed potatoes, probably full of hydrogenated vegetable oil. No butter for sure. Oh my God, that's gonna stop your arteries up. Who knows what was in it? It was good though because I was starving. Uh, and unsweet tea with one little pack of sugar, which I put in there, and that kind of started, the cascading effect of, all right, now I've had these carbs and I got to battle those off again. But I've had a problem really since day one with the diet. Uh, the beginning with the 15th day of the diet, and throughout the time where I felt better, I found myself really, I would say, needing a cheat meal. I mean, it started on the 15th day with a cheat meal because I had felt so bad for the 2 weeks up to that point. I just had zero improvement at all. We had that pizza, and then which I later found out was full of 100% soybean oil or soy oil, and not what you would think you would get at a good Italian place, which might be olive oil in your pizza crust. But anyway, long story short, the day after that pizza, first of all, I felt amazing that night, because I had this meal that I had been certainly wanting. But the next day, I felt quite a bit better. It was like the turning point in the diet. And at first, I joked and said, well, it's probably the cheat meal, who knows. But I was back on the diet for the next 5 days, and I felt better and better and better. But I was dealing with this nagging urge to have something different than greasy, fatty steaks and greasy, fatty salmon and bacon. And I thought, well, I didn't flare from the pizza, so I'll have some cheese. So we went ahead and introduced some high end cheeses back to our diet, and I've had no problems from that. But, the hospital thing just kind of, it was also my birthday the day I got out. And so I was going to have some dadgum sugar, but not cake and not excessive sugar. But we made some cookies. We, homemade chocolate chip cookies. We used the keto stevia sweetened chocolate chips. We used stevia as a sweetener, but we threw 50% of the sweetener with real sugar. It made the cookies so much better, by the way. They were still not perfect. They're still, I like a good crunchy cookie, but it seems like when you use keto ingredients, the cookies are harder. And so they were not as enjoyable, but they were still good. And I knew I would flare, and I did flare. But also during this time, we introduced corn. But unfortunately, we did not have our hands on non GMO corn. We went to the Mexican food store. We found masa harina, so we wanted to make tortillas fried in lard. And we also picked up a little bucket of lard, both of which were U.S. sourced, by the way, which I've since discovered that last year Mexico banned GMO corn because of several different reasons. It's a very interesting read, but they do not allow GMO corn in their food products. They were going to ban it 100%, but they do allow it in animal products. So I knew I was taking a risk, by getting this GMO corn. I knew it didn't say non-GMO, and little did I know at that very moment when I bought the stuff that had I got made in Mexico corn, it would have been non-GMO just by the fact that it was made in Mexico in 2024. And so I've been flaring, and first of all, the corn thing was a success. We made these lard fried tortillas. By the way, the lard, I forget the brand, but it's one of the most common brands. But you can get pure grass-fed beef tallow on Amazon. So the whole lard thing was an experiment. Before I spent the money on non-GMO masa harina, before I spent the money on just straight beef tallow, I wanted to see if we could make this and it would be good. And it was a success. If you want, and you probably shouldn't because corn's like not the best thing to have, but if you really want it, look into making your own tortillas. There are many videos on YouTube on how to do it. Source your masa harina from Mexico, and it'll be non-GMO. So that's a win. Anyway, I do think that the corn, regardless of whether it was GMO or not, may not make a difference, but I think the corn is what really set off my flare. And I say that because we had it on 3 occasions. We made it twice. The third time was a leftover. And the timing of when I ate that and the flare, I really feel like that was it. Although it could have been the sugar, but I've had some sugar here and there, and I've not had any obvious flares as a result within 2 weeks of that sugar. So I just don't think that's it. Anyway, to the point of the video, so I've been flaring. The first part of this week was really bad. And so I've been back on the carnivore pretty well. Stopped eating the corn and all that. The last time I had that was Sunday. We're at Friday now. I'm feeling better, but not 100%. Fingers, thumb, lethargic yesterday. It's just not been good. So I don't know what my exact timing of these problems is. It took 15 days to start feeling better. Once I started carnivore, I had zero improvement, zero relief, nothing in terms of pain. Now, sleep, amazing. Like within the first 2 days, I slept better. Within the first 2 days, just other improvements. But on the flip side of that, I have continued to have, especially in the last week or so, I've had some other things that you kind of get early on, like diarrhea kind of stuff, some negative effects. But I think what really got me this week was that because I was hurting over the weekend and, on Monday I said, all right, that's it. I've got to get back to 100% carnivore. We're not going to, we did the experiment with the corn and we did some other, cheats, which I plan to do as part of my birthday, if you will. And because I had the low blood sugar thing when I went into the hospital, and I wanted to get some sugar kind of normalized and then pull back and go to the diet. I said, all right, now it's time. Let's do this. For 2 weeks, I'm going to do pure carnivore, no cheats, except for I will allow myself a Zevia soft drink, 1 per day, sweetened by stevia only. And in 2 weeks, I will then have my little cheat meal again, but I've got to get better. So that was Monday. So I'm sick of feeling like crap again. By the way, I have as close to 100% certainty as you can get that carnivore will help your inflammatory condition. And it will it will make you 100%. It will make you lose weight. 19, 20. Let's see. Yeah, I'm knocking on the door 21 pounds yesterday. Yesterday morning, 21 pounds. In, I don't know, 6 weeks. And that's with quite a bit of cheating going on. I mean, the whole hospital food thing and then the birthday cheat. I had a solid week where I was like carnivore, but yet I would still have this or maybe that. Not a lot, but enough to mess the diet up. Still losing weight. Slowed it down, yes, but losing. So I fully support it. The problem is, I don't think that every single person out there can just get on carnivore and it be 100% compatible with their physiology, I guess you could say. Um, for me, I have battled low blood sugar. I have had periods of hypoglycemia to the point that I will now consume something with sugar in it if I feel like I need to. I don't care. I mean, hypoglycemic situation, it's not good. It's not a good place to be. It doesn't feel good, and it can go bad. I'm not diabetic, but I definitely have had a high sugar diet, and it may be that I need a while for my body to adjust to no sugar, although I have been basically no sugar. Um, let's see, what's the word? I've been very low sugar for the last 2 to 3 years now because sugar in excess does not make me feel good. And because I'm not getting any younger and I don't want to gain weight and I don't want diabetes and all the other things that sugar can bring. But at the same time, I love it. I mean, I love a cookie or a piece of cake. And so what's happened in the last year before I started carnivore is, I would grab an occasional dessert, half a dessert. I would never, if I'm out with Melissa and we get something to eat and we decide to have a dessert, we ask for the smallest slice of whatever that dessert is, one slice, and we share it. And a lot of times we don't even finish it. But so I've cut that out, obviously, as part of carnivore. Other than our little birthday weekend where, we had these cookies that were half sugar and half stevia. But anyway, to shorten this down to, let's see if we can get this video down to less than 15 minutes, but I doubt it. Monday I committed, and Tuesday, Wednesday, I actually have been feeling just a little bit better each day. Tuesday was actually worse than Monday. I had a lot of back pain, but Wednesday I felt a little bit better. Yesterday I felt better, but I started feeling low blood sugar again. Not to the point of hypoglycemia, but some of the little indicators. I just felt like I needed to have something sweet in my system that day. And so we went out and we had this most amazing beef brisket that I've ever had. Phenomenal place over there in Destin. Mama Ray's or something like that. Wow. They're rated 4.9. If you're in Destin, look it up. But you got to get there early because they run out of things, But I wanted the beef brisket, and it was perfect. It was perfect. I've never had a beef brisket that I've actually really liked. Because, well, first of all, before carnivore, I didn't really like fat, and there's always going to be some fat in it. But this brisket was off the chain in every way. Huge portion. It had 2 layers of fat in it. The fat was like butter. I mean, it just melted. Tasted good. I had the brisket, half pound. I had a side of butter. They had little butter packets. So I had 2 little butter packets. And I had a glass of salt water because I missed my electrolytes that morning. And I had a cheat, which was unsweet tea with some stevia in it to wash all this down. And so I forced myself, to eat this brisket, which it was delicious, but I still don't like eating the fat that much. Like it was tasty, but I don't like the texture. And so I gotta have it. I just didn't enjoy that part of it. And I had the butter for extra fat because as a percentage of protein to fat, it wasn't enough. And then, so I had that. And the second butter I had a hard time eating, so I poured a little bit of stevia and mixed it in. It was actually pretty good. And I drank that salt water. Ugh. And then I drank my tea, but I didn't get a refill and leave with a refill because I don't want to have too much of this illegal stevia that I'm not supposed to have on the diet. Went home all day. I tasted the fat. I could feel the fat. It was like it's on your tongue, you know. It's just in your mouth. For dinner, I had some cheese because I just couldn't stomach another friggin' ribeye or ribeye burger. Um, maybe I did have a leftover ribeye burger last night. I'm sorry, that night. No, I think I had a leftover ribeye burger, and I really didn't enjoy it. It was just like it was fat on top of fat, and I didn't enjoy it. And I kept burping up the flavor of the brisket from that morning, from lunch, basically early lunch, and then the ribeye on top of that, and I ended up having to go and buy Tums, and I took my Tums, and I woke up the next day, and I could still just taste it and feel it, and my body said no more, don't have any more right now, you know. Well, I had my bacon and eggs for breakfast, which the grease of the bacon kind of bothered me a little bit, just like it wasn't palatable. It just, I don't know, it just kind of bothered me. Well, come around lunchtime, I'm having a hard time remembering if I had the or the ribeye burger for lunch yesterday or for dinner the night before. I don't know. I just didn't enjoy it either way. So I told Melissa, I said, I feel a cheat meal coming on, and I'm pretty sure it's happening. And then that evening I said, we're going to go get lasagna, and I want some damn bread because I need something to soak up all this grease in my system or something. So we went and we had garlic knots and we had lasagna, and it was wonderful. Felt fine. I'm not flaring this morning. I think it takes a while for me to flare. But I come to the realization overnight that I've got a real problem with this diet in that I just can't do it. Maybe I need more time to adapt. Maybe I need to slowly introduce it, or maybe it's just not compatible. But I just can't get the level of fat that I need. Whenever I approach getting enough fat, it just makes me not feel right or something. Or at least it's not palatable. I can't enjoy it. I don't feel good afterwards. I just, ugh. Ugh. Anyway, so right now I'm raising the white flag of defeat on the carnivore. Certainly true carnivore, certainly honest carnivore. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, I absolutely buy into the idea that it's helping me. I'm getting more done. I didn't have a problem with hurting when I was on the true carnivore. I've had the problem of hurting when I've been cheating on the carnivore. So, if anybody, I want to be on carnivore. But I'm having a hard time, a really hard time, staying true to it. And it's not just because I'm craving something else. It's because I just get to a point where I absolutely just cannot do it again. My next meal is not going to be a ribeye or butter or bacon or salmon or whatever, ribs or something like that. It's just not going to happen. Like, this is it. I'm going to eat some regular food. And that happens to me every 3, 4, 5 days. And when I have pushed through that, I have ended up regretting it, having an upset stomach or having to have some Tums or whatever. So, yeah, I'm open to some suggestions on how to beat that. But as far as I'm concerned, I need something, whether it be bread or rice or whatever. Now, I do want to mention in closing that this diet was never about I'm going to go 100% carnivore forever. That wasn't my goal. Now, if it helps me 100%, then yes, I would like to do whatever makes me feel good. Absolutely. If I feel better, no flare, no problems, and carnivore is, the way to do it, then I'm going to certainly try. And so I'm not giving up, but I've got to figure out, how do I get myself where I can just eat, for example, nothing but ribeye meat day in and day out, every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with water and salt. How do you get to that point? Because I can't do it. Um, I've failed at two things in my life right now. Successfully playing the banjo in what I would think is a reasonable amount of time to play it decent compared to other people, which is about 3 years of trying, 2.5, 3 years of trying. And I can eke out some songs on it, but I don't play it nearly to the level that I would like to. And getting on carnivore and being true to it. Those are two difficult things. But I haven't given up on either. But I don't know how I get from where I am physiologically / mentally, wrap my head around being able to just eat nothing but that. Um, on top of certainly the negatives, such as socially, it's very awkward. Emotionally, not being able to have a slice of that cake when you're down. Not being able to go and have a pizza or a lasagna, Mexican, whatever. I mean, that all sucks. But on like, okay, so I can deal with that, but I can't deal with feeling physically ill because I don't have sugar or whatever is going on. Like if I'm hypoglycemic, I have no choice. Or being upset with a greasy stomach, so to speak. Like that that brisket. I don't know if I can ever eat brisket again right now. I don't know. It was so delicious, but I don't want to feel like that again. So that's where I'm at. Like I said, I'm open to suggestions of how you get your head wrapped around doing that. I'm not a big fan of salmon. I will eat it, and I've found out a way of making it quite good. I'm just not a big seafood fan, honestly. But if you really look at like the kind of fish that you could really get away with having on this diet, it's salmon and a few others. Everything else is probably too lean. Same goes for chicken and many other things. So I don't know, guys. I can't just sit here and eat all that fat. I just don't think it's going to work, even over a great period of time. But maybe I can ease into it more. All right, I'm out of here. That's where I'm at on update 7. If you're watching this and you want to give carnivore a try, I would say my experience is not maybe not even typical, but it certainly should not deter you. It works. It'll help you. And you might just be able to stomach it better than I can. And if you can, it works really well for pain, for weight loss, and probably many other things, sleep, and probably other conditions I'm not even, that I don't even deal with. But I will say, from my experience, it is difficult to sustain, at least from a cold turkey going to it standpoint. Maybe again, ease into it over a period of time. But if you're hurting, if you need to lose weight, if you've got a disease, jump in it, do it. It's not that hard to sustain for long enough to find out if it's going to help you. And then you can make your own personal decision on whether you want to suffer with your condition or you want to suffer with a diet. And hopefully your experience will be better than mine with the adjustment to the diet. So I'm going to keep on trying. I'll keep updating. But today is going to mark a bit of a turning point in my diet. So the next few updates won't be as carnivore-esque as the others. But I intend to stay carnivore. And I'm probably going to jump to 20-30% keto type food, whole foods, made at home foods, and avoiding corn for now. And then, we'll see what happens. Catch you guys later.